Hi, this is Kevin Thomas with the ReelKev Show. I haven't planned on doing any episodes for a while because we're all stuck at home, but I had a story that I couldn't resist, and it's actually a repeat guest who I think is so creative and I love, Tyler Martin. Tyler, I know like you were unexpecting me to call right now, and I caught you exercising. Thank you for taking the call.
Of course. I'm so happy
So,
to hear from you.
Tyler, you are such a creative person, and so first of all, I loved your show, Don't Suck. Will we be ever sucking again?
Yes, there will be more to come. I can't say too much as of what exactly, but there definitely is stuff happening with it.
Did you have any Don't Sucks in that can before COVID-19 hit the crap out of all of us?
Yes, so there there was some stuff happening, and then of course, like everyone, it got completely halted. But I'm not letting that stop me, and yeah, so I'm still working, and it might take a little longer now, but that's fine.
And speaking of working, you're one of the many people like me that tried to turn, I mean, this is a terrible situation everybody's in, but you kind of made lemonade. You need to be creative and do things. So you're actually doing a podcast now called Have a Blessed Day, even though you say blessed day, but my people grew up saying blessed. So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, Have a Blessed Day. It is basically a podcast, kind of a mix of solo and interview episodes, but where I critically discuss religion and spirituality from an outcast perspective. It's a spiritual comedy podcast, so it is mixed with comedy, even though we're talking about some heavy subject matter, but basically a way to make it more accessible and relatable to people so they can digest it a little easier.
So the blessed gay part, now, not that we're going to get deep because you and I are two super fun people, but doesn't like religion often look down on the gays unless, of course, it's a church that was formed to support all people?
Yeah, so that's definitely a major thing that I talk about throughout the series, and especially with my guests. I have some really cool guests that are activists from around the world who are doing really neat things, and who are also involved in different religions, whether it be Christianity or Islam or so on and so forth. And yeah, that's a major topic that comes up because historically speaking, LGBTQ people have not been accepted in a lot of main world religions. So basically how we can transform religion, how we can take certain practices from religion and kind of make them our own. And something else I talk a lot about is the difference between religion and spirituality. I actually had this awesome conversation with someone just yesterday, but it was about they had never thought of it in that way before, that we are spirituality. The church itself is just a building. And so spirituality doesn't live in a church. We bring it to a church. And because of that, we can take it anywhere outside of a church setting. And so I think it's important for LGBTQ people specifically to know that like we have access to spirituality. We are worthy of experiencing something spiritual, and we can. And whether it happens in a church or not is kind of irrelevant.
Hey, I want to talk about that, but first, do you think you need to spin around? Is the sun like right in your eyes?
I know, it's like, it is like so sunny. I keep on like squinting so hard. I'm trying to find some shade. I'll look around.
Oh, you are shady already, so.
Ooh.
So let me talk about religion and spirituality for a second, because, you know, I grew up Catholic. But once I learned God is everywhere, I got in a lot of trouble because I said, why do I have to go to a church and worship ceramics? I could like enjoy God at home then. I can enjoy God at the breakfast we have after church. That's what I used to say.
The best. Yeah.
And I also, sorry.
No, exactly. Yeah, that definitely is, I think, so true about spirituality and our relationship with God. Because there's a lot of people who go to church every Sunday, or even every Sunday and Wednesday, and they have an awful relationship with God. So going to church doesn't necessarily equate to having a good relationship with God.
Well, that's true. I also used to get in trouble from my mom because, I mean, everybody follows their Bible, but it's really a book that someone printed. I mean, like, God didn't have a printer. So someone just interpreted, put it together, and every religion has their own little book. So I just think people can write their own thing.
Oh, totally. That's something I get into with Casper ter Kuile, who is on the podcast. He has an awesome book that just came out, The Power of Ritual. Definitely check it out. But in it, we kind of talk about the controversy with J.K. Rowling right now and Harry Potter, and how she has been so anti-trans in her rhetoric and what she's saying on Twitter specifically. And a lot of people have been so upset because they love Harry Potter and they think of Harry Potter as almost a Bible. And so for the creator to say something like that is really, it's soul crushing. And so we kind of talk about, though, how people, authors, they're people, so like they're gonna do some bad shit in their lives for sure, but can we still use a text, and can we still pull good from it even if the author is not so good at all the time? And it's an interesting conversation, interesting thought. But yeah, the Bible is made by men, so it has a lot of bad in it, actually.
That conversation you had with the author, what episode was that? Do you recall?
Yeah, it's episode 4.
Okay, well, I'll have to look out for that one. Another interesting thing I found about religion, well, because I'm a big gay musical queen.
Yes, you are.
Did you see the Prom, or just Prom, where there's this great song that says, people were against the girl because she was a lesbian, but yet they have divorced parents or had premarital sex. You don't pick your commandments to follow. You either follow all 10 or break free, right?
Exactly. That's something major too, and I'm so excited to get more into just releasing more of the interviews, because patriarchy is something that comes up a lot, and the setup, the system of a religion and church is very patriarchal, and it is very white a lot of times, especially in America. And so we have a lot of racism in our religions in America. We have a lot of discrimination when it comes to female identifying individuals, and then a ton, of course, for LGBTQ community. So it's interesting, though, to look at the patriarchy and to think okay, this is like a system like any other system, and churches have to make money, and churches have to have a hierarchy like other things, except, well, at least that's what we're told, I guess. And so it's interesting to see that in replay and see how different people are affected by that, and if there is a way to take church and kind of revamp what we think of it.
It's true. And it looks like you found a little shady spot.
Sorry, I did.
Well, I think I got shady with you right before you found the shady spot. So Tyler, when do we hear your podcast, Have a Blessed Gay? What's going on? Where is it?
It is anywhere that you'll listen to podcasts. So if you have an iPhone, it's really nifty because the iPhone automatically will come with a podcast app. A lot of people don't even know that, but it's a little purple square and it's already on your phone. So you just search in your little search bar for podcasts and it'll pull up. Podcasts are totally free. If you don't have an iPhone, it's also on Spotify, it's on Stitcher, it's on Anchor, it's on Google Podcasts, so you can even just Google it. And yeah, you can listen to it on the computer, on your phone, on the go. And right now I have 2 episodes coming out per week, one on Tuesdays and one on Fridays. And then in the next few weeks, I'm going to cut it down to 1 episode a week, but it'll be every Tuesday. But there are several episodes already out, so you can definitely have a lot to listen to already.
Tyler, I'm going to listen because I love you. You're like one of
I
my
love
favorite
you.
great
Yeah.
art. Oh, actually, let's do a hug here. Oh, look, that was a safe hug. Anyway, catch up with Tyler on any place you find podcasts, and go on YouTube and look up Don't Suck, the web series. It's super funny. I think you won a lot of awards for that.
I did. And that's actually a big reason I even like started this podcast, is because a theme of religion is very small and Don't Suck, but it's actually something that a lot of people related to. And I had so many people reach out to me about it. And so I felt like there was a calling to do something revolving religion and faith, and just have a safe space for people to kind of discuss and question those things. And so it came from that web series. So definitely, if this is interesting to you, check out Don't Suck for sure.
And I was already starting my goodbye, but the funny thing is, I'm like Mr. Stupid Puns, but you did a show, Don't Suck, and religion kind of tells you not to suck. So maybe they're connected. We'll have to watch listen to your podcast and listen to your podcast and find out. But Tyler, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again when it's safe.
Yes.
So you
thank
say
you
hi,
for calling.
And say hi to your coworkers and friends that I love, Enrique and Paige, the second greatest assistant ever made.
I will for sure. And I know that
Thank
they'll
you.
say hi right back.
Oh, I know they will. And I'm going to hit goodbye now. So see ya.